Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters Union, which is the largest union in the United States, was on Face the Nation talking about how they've requested to meet with Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party, but have not received any responses back. But they did get an invitation from Donald Trump and the Republican Party to the Republican National Convention. And Sean O'Brien took the stage and spoke. Even though the Teamsters Union has been heavily Democrat and have supported Democrats over the years, even Joe Biden recently wanted to be more involved with unions and went out and took a photo out on a picket line with union members. But when it comes to putting your actions, speaking louder than your words, this is where Kamala Harris and the Democrats are falling short. When Sean O'Brien was on Face the Nation, he spoke about how disappointed his union members are with the fact that over the years that they've given tremendous support to the Democrat Party, they weren't even worthy of a response. They weren't even worthy of a meeting. Nobody is willing to hear them out. And those 1.2 million union members, they have power, they have impact. Matter of fact, let me let you hear what Sean O'Brien had to say about how the union members feel about the fact that the Democrat Party wasn't even willing to speak with them. Check this out. And since you're here, do me a favor, please hit that like button. I'll never ask you for a cash app. I'll never ask for a super chat, but I will ask for a like. A like is like currency, because once you click that like, other people get a chance to share and hear the information. And that's important. We want to get as many people as we can, as educated as possible, to help 2024, this presidential election, put America back on the right track. So hit the like button. And if you aren't already subscribed, hit the subscription. Turn on the notifications, hit all, so you'll be updated when I release another video.
I want to say this, whatever the critics out there, and they're very few in the leadership, whenever I get an opportunity to highlight the American worker, especially the Teamster worker, I'm going to take any and all venue. We asked both conventions respectively at the same time, and the Republican National Convention immediately responded to us, didn't try and edit any of our messages, and I was hopeful that the Democrats would do the same, but they didn't. I'm not upset about it, but I can tell you this, my rank and file members who have been lifelong Democrats are not happy about it.
Now, think about it. Did you hear what he said? They did the polling. And as you see right there on the screen, Trump, they voted, they said that they would vote for Trump, 60% of the members, with Kamala Harris only getting 34%, and then another 6% going to, between the other candidates, whether that be Jill Stein or Cornel West. And that is a shame because, the Teamsters Union primarily is up there in the Michigan area. Most of those union members are in that area. They're auto workers. And as you know, the automotive industry is extremely important to America. But look at what's happening. The EV mandates pushed on us by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden put Americans in a financial bind. Most people cannot afford an EV. And with these mandates last month in August of 2024, 10,000 auto workers were laid off. And this is just the beginning of it. When Donald Trump at a rally in Michigan spoke about bloodbath, that phrase that the liberal media loves to run with and act like it was a literal term as far as with going out and causing violence. The only violence that Donald Trump was referring to when he spoke of bloodbath was the economic violence that's going to happen in the automotive industry as China surges ahead of the United States and dominates the EV market. Now, can you imagine if our biggest rival, China, takes over the EV market, and we're already at a disadvantage because they are the largest supplier of batteries for the EVs. So Kamala Harris, being in charge in the White House, they cut domestic energy production. Donald Trump had us set where we were energy independent. Now, we've exhausted all of our reserves and we're buying oil from Venezuela, getting it back to the United States, where we still have to refine it 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 times. So we're buying oil higher than we need to pay for it from a country that when we get it here, we still have to refine it, all in the sake of quote unquote climate change. So you're forcing American citizens to drastically change their life, negatively impacting their financial situation, for us to hit net zero as far as on the climate. Now, while they're putting the pressure on American citizens, guess what's happening around the world? You got Venezuela, which is one of the largest producers of CO2 into the atmosphere. You got China, who is pumping out 5 times as much emissions into the atmosphere as the United States. So American citizens are bearing the brunt of these bad ideas, bad vision. Now, granted, does Mother Earth need to be treated with care? Absolutely. But she's been here for billions of years. And that's the arrogance of man to believe that we are going to take care of Mother Earth better than she already has and takes care of us. So we're putting in all of these things under the sake of climate control, all the while spending more money than we have to, relieving ourselves of our reserves. So if something was to happen, an emergency breakout, guess what? We don't have enough to be able to sustain and take care of ourselves. Heavens forbid if we get into some type of a confrontation with another country where we need to put boots on the ground, that's going to be a problem. And it all has become because of Kamala Harris and the Joe Biden policies. And the fact that the Teamsters Union, who are heavily impacted by that, their members who majority have voted Democrat for their lives. The fact that they are now switching their votes to support Donald Trump for president of the United States says a lot about the direction that this country is going in and the significant change that American citizens are wanting to see. Trump has policies which he's laid out. We were energy independent when he was in office, which people love to forget the fact that we had 4 years of Donald Trump. And outside of the global pandemic that hit the entire world, the United States had its best economy in the history of our country. And that's one thing that you never hear the Democrat pundits ever deny. They love to bring up January 6th. They love to talk about how there was a lot of people who had to lose their job, or should I say, stay at home because of the shutdowns. But if it wasn't for Trump, imagine how long the country would have been shut down if Kamala Harris would have had her way. Heck, we might still be shut down right now. And what happened is when we came out of that pandemic, they took office, they were handed over inflation of only 1.4%, which is almost perfect because you always have to have debt in order for you to be able to grow revenue. Always. But at 1.4%, it was manageable. That was the sweet spot. As a matter of fact, between the years of 2017 and 2021, which was the 4 years of Trump's term, our average inflation rate was 1.9%. So handed over to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris at a 1.4% inflation rate, their average inflation from 2021 to now has been an average of 5.4%, which is horrific. They spent $6.3 trillion in 2023 alone. Trump spent $8.4 trillion in 4 years. That included the global pandemic. So when we're looking at the fact that the Teamsters Union members that are responsible for our production and our automotive industry, which we need, which we heavily rely on, they've decided to back Donald Trump for president. And Sean O'Brien said a mouthful, which is if the Democrat Party won't hear us and we want to support, they want to support him, but couldn't even give an invitation. They didn't get an invitation to the Democrat National Convention, haven't even received a response from their request to meet just to be able to express some of the concerns of union members. That shows just how committed they really are to unions. Is it all about really supporting the unions, or is it about the photo op? Donald Trump speaks, meets, engages with union members, shakes their hand. In New York, thousands of union members with non-prompted, when he just stopped at a deli in New York, took to the streets to applaud him. So just pay attention as you get ready to go into that booth on November the 5th, regardless if you support Donald Trump or if you support Kamala Harris, just make sure that you're knowledgeable of who you casting that vote for. Because, we always hear, oh, this is the most important election of our lifetime, most important election of our lifetime. I honestly, in my humble opinion, I truly do feel this is the most important election of our lifetime. We've already had 4 years, a 4-year glimpse of what's to come if Kamala Harris takes over and Tim Walz take over and start running the White House. We've also already had 4 years of Donald Trump. So we get 4 years of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and where they could take the country. Can you imagine 12 years? Because if Kamala Harris wins the next election, she has potentially 8 years in office and already these 4 years with Joe Biden. Can you imagine 12 years of failed Democrat policies, of open borders, of high inflation, of a poor economy, of high crime, of illegal immigrant flooding the streets? It's a nightmare. It sounds like something out of a bad movie, but guess what? This is potentially our reality. It'll make what's happening in Springfield, Ohio, seem like a positive story. So make sure you educate yourself. Keep watching videos, gaining your information. The mainstream media have already showed their hand. They are a propaganda, state-run media for the left. And if you want actual non-biased information, make sure that you just dig in. Make sure you're doing your due diligence. Do your research. Because as we already see, especially with everything that's come out about the ABC whistleblower exposing the fact that the debate was rigged to make Kamala Harris look good. As a matter of fact, I put a video up about that. Make sure you check that out. But this is a big deal. So Sean O'Brien, the Teamsters Union, are backing Donald Trump after historically backing Democrats. And that's huge. But this isn't the time to let up. That doesn't mean, like, polls have come out. The Rasmussen poll shows Trump up by 2. Several other polls that are very reputable. And now they got some of these BS polls coming out that have historically been off by 10 and 12 points when it comes to election time. The Atlas poll was one of the most accurate polls for the 2020 election and for the 2022 midterms. Then you got Rasmussen, who is the most accurate since 2016. So make sure you're doing your due diligence and paying attention. Just because you see Trump is up in the polls, that does not mean let up. Matter of fact, that means put your foot on the gas and we push harder. Yesterday, on September the 17th, it was voter registration day. If you aren't registered to vote, make sure that you get registered to vote. You can do it online. You can go to your local tax prep office or maybe your local post office. I'm unsure, but just make sure that you take advantage of your constitutional right to be a part of the democratic process here in America and cast your vote. Be one of the best things you ever did. Other than that, I'm Brian Maxwell. I appreciate you for watching the video. I look forward to seeing you at the top and on the next video. Over and out.